Hey guys, Justine from Skincare by Justine LLC here. We're going to be just doing a facial today. We're doing a little bit of training like we did the other day with Christina. This is her friend Bridget, and we're so grateful that she's here with us. And we're just going to be going through the facial because she's a new client to me. I have never met her. She's not a regular. I don't know her little secrets in her skin and where to find them. So we're going to teach Christina today how to kind of start off from zero with a new client, what to look for and things like that. Is it comfortable for you?
Yes.
Oh, great. So I'm going to touch her face first. Her skin integrity right out the bat feels really good. She doesn't feel dry or dehydrated, which is good. So she right away, I know that she'll be kind of like a good candidate for all the exfoliation that I'm going to do. If she was already dry and dehydrated, then we'd be focusing on treating that. But because she's not, now we can go forward and do more aggressive stuff. So let's start with a cleanse, okay? Do you have any allergies?
No.
Even ones that you wouldn't think to tell me? Medications or anything?
No.
Okay. So
The only time I've ever had like any sort of skin reaction was that time with the dermatology stuff that I tried with.
Yeah.
It was like vitamin K or something, right?
That was like a tinted moisturizer.
Yeah, it was tinted.
With SPF.
Yeah, so I wouldn't worry about
so we
it.
weren't really sure about like what ingredient it might have been. We were thinking maybe because it was like a sunscreen that had vitamin A in it. And
vitamin
I know that's
A.
not
had
always-
vitamin A in a sunscreen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I threw it away.
So,
Yeah. I'm glad you did.
So that's why I assumed it might have caused a reaction. But she got all these little tiny bumps
On my forehead.
On the forehead.
Yeah.
Was it itchy?
It was a little bit itchy, but they
Yeah.
were like very tiny bumps everywhere.
Okay.
And I have fairly clear skin, so I was annoyed.
I would be too,
Yeah.
for sure. So right at the bat, her skin feels nice and soft. So I'm not concerned at all about anything I'm going to do today or anything that I want to do. So let's talk about your home care routine for a second.
Yep.
Start me off in the morning. You get up, you cleanse your skin, what do you use, and then go from there.
I usually use an enzyme cleansing gel,
Okay.
and then I use the Thayer's Rose toner after that, and then I do like a caffeinated eye cream, and then a collagen SPF moisturizer.
Okay. And
Yep.
then what are you using at night?
At night, if I need to exfoliate, I use a botanical, like, soft exfoliating scrub in the shower. And I'll do, like, a foam cleanser after that, or just the foam cleanser if I'm not exfoliating that day. And then I usually do toner at night, too, just under my eyes, because I feel like I get, like, sweaty and, like, oily there, like my T-zone. And then I use like a thicker vitamin E, I think it's by Jason, moisturizer at night.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I do.
So when you do the scrub in the shower, how often do you do that a week?
Like twice.
Twice? Okay. So, I will say that you are a little tiny bit over exfoliating.
Yeah.
You definitely, your skin can take it. You're not like, your barrier's not all impaired or anything.
Yeah.
But I would say you might want to, if you're going to be using the enzyme cleanser, I'd only use the scrub once a week.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then that way you're not over exfoliating and stripping your skin's barrier too much that it can't replace itself in time. Okay?
Because the enzyme gel is also exfoliating me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So enzymes eat dead cells
Yep.
off the face. So even though it doesn't affect your live cells, it's not turning over your cells. It still can be stripping.
Okay.
Okay. So you're using, so there's a difference between chemical exfoliants and mechanical physical exfoliants. Your chemical exfoliants is going to be like your vitamin A, your AHA, your BHA, things like that. And then mechanical is going to be your scrubs and so on. Chemical exfoliants will do the job of a scrub without the aggression. It just works on the skin and does its thing. You don't see it happen. And enzymes, although not as strong as, say, lactic and glycolic acid is still considered an exfoliant.
Okay.
So we're still considering an exfoliant even though it's not like a vitamin A. Enzymes 100% are an exfoliation. And then if you're adding a scrub once a week, that should be fine, but twice is a little overkill.
All right.
Okay?
Good to know.
Yeah. So we have a barrier on our whole body. Our skin is one organ. And it's a little bit of sweat and a little bit of sebum. And it sits on our skin cells. And then on top of that lays the bugs that keep our skin healthy, like bacteria and fungus.
Mm-hmm.
And when that layer gets stripped between them, then the bugs can walk right in. There's no door. There's nobody at the door stopping them. So then you get fungal infections, bacterial infections, and things like that. So we want to keep that barrier healthy. And it's on our entire body. When we cleanse or we do an exfoliation, we do a peel or do any type of facial, we strip that barrier off and then we put something in its place to hold its place until your skin naturally starts working its own barrier again. So that's actually what moisturizer is. When you're using moisturizer after cleansing your face, you're putting the moisturizer in the place of the acid mantle until your own natural acid mantle can start working and get oil up to your skin again. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I've got this macabre story. Of course I do. I like to tell this story for certain people. I always say, did you know that ducks have an oil on their feathers that help them float?
No.
So ducks have an oil on their feathers that help them float. And when there's an oil spill in the ocean, that oil strips the oil that they have on their feathers off their feathers, and then they can no longer float and they sink and they drown. And that's why when there's an oil spill, they're all out there with like dial soap and stuff, scrubbing there, because that soap's stripping the oil from the ocean off of them, and then their wings will eventually be covered in their own natural oil again. And basically our acid mantle is the same thing. Keeps water in, keeps water out, keeps bad things out, protects the skin. It's kind of like a layer, a little waterproof layer, or maybe water resistant is a better way to say it, but it protects our skin. All right, Major, have you ever had microdermabrasion before?
No.
All right. So this feels like being licked by a cat's tongue.
Cool.
It sounds kind of terrible, but it's right spot on, so you're probably gonna laugh. I'm gonna start right here on your forehead, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a little bit of suction, and you let me know if you get uncomfortable. It should not hurt at all.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Sounds good.
So I was right to prep for microdermabrasion for her, because even though her skin barrier is healthy and intact, she is a little tiny bit dry. A little tiny bit. So we're going to buff off all that dead layer today and get her nice and plump and hydrated instead. So I'm holding this side of her forehead with my hand, so I'm holding her skin taut while I'm going in this direction. And then you see I'm pulling too with my fingers here. How does this feel, my friend?
It feels like a cat's tongue.
Yeah, I have the weirdest analogies, so everybody just chill. I actually told Christina earlier, I'm like, well, the way that I remember how skin is laid with like the proteins and stuff, I think of it as a trampoline.
Yeah.
Like the trampoline, not the springs, but the bouncy part, that's kind of like how our skin is like that trampoline, and all those tight little sort of fibers is what keeps it strong and keeps you able to bounce off of it without it kind of just crashing. But I'm a weird person. You know this about me though, so that's okay.
I think your analogies are very helpful. It's like a good way for you to explain everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like more complicated concepts in skincare, and it's good to have that mental image.
There is, especially like when I mentioned last time with the shingles.
Yes.
Because I didn't know that. I only had one teacher tell me that, and I was like, oh my god, that makes so much sense, but no one else has told me that, just that one teacher. So it's like sometimes you don't get all the information. I had some really great teachers, and one of my teachers was the one that said, oh, well, the cells lay like shingles, so you want to go up to get them up. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I'm a visual learner, so it's easier for me to visualize things than to someone to just explain it. Point your chin to the ceiling for me. I'll tell you when to relax.
Okay.
So now I'm putting my hand here because I'm going to use my thumb to pull this, but I want it to be really tight. As tight as I can get it, because we don't want, with microderm, we don't want loose skin. So I'm holding right here with my hand, and I'm using my thumb here to pull her neck skin taut. And I'm going down the bottom first because I'm going to go do the top of the neck from the chin down. Don't be afraid to touch the client, move their skin if you need to. And then I'm holding her skin up like this to go downwards on her neck. So I've got my hand here, and I'm moving it as I go. There we go. My machine likes you. It's giving you kisses.
Yeah.
Alright, so now we're going to get this filter out. Do you have any skin complaints, my friend? Anything that you look in the mirror and you see that you're like, I wish that was different?
Not recently. I mean, my pores are a little enlarged in my T-zone, I would say.
Okay.
But nothing crazy. I've been very happy with my skin in my recent years. Because I think since I stopped wearing foundation, my skin has improved a bit. But yeah, I'm still learning about my skin a little bit, so I'm open to suggestions.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I get a bit red, and I don't love that.
Okay.
And I haven't really found like the trigger of that. But yeah, sometimes the redness of my skin is irritating.
Alright, so does anyone in your family have rosacea? It could be a male, so think about the men too. Grandpa, uncle, that would be kind of centered redness here. Maybe their nose was a little bit overgrown and red.
I don't know if rosacea, no, I don't, and I don't think I have rosacea either. Honestly, I'm probably just red from like, I don't know.
You're
being
probably
hot.
a little sensitive too.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have a bit of sensitive skin. But overall, I'm happy with the way my skin looks.
Alright,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
We want to be happy with how we look.
Yeah.
100%. I love that you're using a caffeine eye cream because that's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. It makes me feel awake in the morning.
Or look awake.
Look
at least,
awake.
right?
Yeah, look awake.
So it's going to take you some time, but you'll learn to be able to do all of this with them talking. You'll be able to go around their lips while they're talking. It's you get used to it. You know, you kind of move with them. Except when we do the lips on Rezenerate, then they have to be quiet. Although some people aren't. And then I get some stuff in their mouth. So actually, would you like to do a Rezenerate on her today? Do we want to do that because she's a little bit dry to get her ultra plumped and hydrated? Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah.
So I always prep Rezenerate with Microdermabrasion. You can pair it with a peel. I find my clients like it better with Microdermabrasion. Usually if I switch them to a peel and then do Rezenerate, they're like, yeah, I didn't like that as much.
Okay.
I don't know why, but that's just, you know, that's them, and we always listen to what the clients like. Are you okay with us plumping you up and doing a Rezenerate today?
Is that the scoopy thing?
No, actually, that so this would be something that was not. Did you watch the video? Is that why you're saying that?
No.
I was telling her
Oh,
about
okay.
the skin scrubber and like that whole thing.
So okay, so I guess let's do it this way. We can do a cosmetic facial with Rezenerate, plump and get some great ingredients into your epidermis, or we can do a deep clean
Yep.
and hydrate not quite as much. What would you like to do, my dear?
Whatever you think Christina should learn today, I'm fine with. I don't care either way.
Okay.
I both sound great to me. Maybe the first one, I don't know.
They're pretty great. They're all pretty great. They
Both
all
sound
do
great.
wonderful things. Since we used the skin scrubber in the last video, do you want to
Do
just
the new
do
thing.
Rezenerate?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let me just this guy here.
Like you said, my skin looks like it can take it.
So this is another kind of exfoliation, but this one isn't as aggressive because this is actually penetrating. We're going to use this to penetrate serums into your skin.
Okay.
So there's vibration, which does cause a little bit of exfoliation, but it's not going to be too aggressive.
Cool.
The other thing is with Rezenerate is after we're done, the skin kind of feels like there's jumping beans all over. Like our cells are very stimulated, lots of stimulation with this facial, okay? And we can even do extractions on her too after we do the Rezenerate.
Okay.
But just we're not going to use the skin scrubber part right now. So pop out your tip. Alright, let's mix her up some goodies. Let's do some Lyra Clinical Biohydra Infusion. We're going to put in three droppers full, because we're going to do her whole face and her neck. We want to make sure that we have enough serum for all of it. I'm going to do some oxygen serum by Dermamed, because I love it, and it's great for anti-aging, and it also helps keep the microbial count down on her skin. I'm going to do a little bit of Claritone for pigmentation, which she does not have, but we want to keep it that way. She's so young and beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll just a few drops of this here. So the Dermamed bottles can be a wicked pain in the butt. Just unscrew the top. They don't always squirt the way that they're supposed to, which is why I hate pumps. Start over, rewind. If you guys didn't see that, I just accidentally put like the whole bottle of Claritone in the cup, so we have to start over with our serums.
Oh no.
It's okay, it's alright. I've got more, don't worry about it.
Things happen.
It does. Again with the oxygen. Oxygen is almost I think it's one of my favorite ingredients for skin. I don't know, I love what it does because it can kill bacteria, it can help people with acneic skin, it can help with anti-aging. Oxygen is just such a great thing for our skin, our body in general. That's why when people get burned, like on their body, they put them in an oxygen tank.
Oh.
Because the oxygen heals the skin while also making sure no bacteria gets inside the skin while it's healing. So oxygen is just pretty amazing. Off the bat, let's not pour this whole thing in here this time. Dude. Oh, that's all right. We put a little too much, but that's okay. We're not going to throw it away this time. I'm going to use some Lyra Clinical Pro-Firming Serum. It's got peptides in it, which are amino acids that trick the skin into thinking it's not making enough collagen so that it overproduces, so you get that firm lift and plump.
Sweet.
There's also caffeine in it, which is going to also help with that kind of lift of the skin. That was my glove. Oh, shit. I'm like, look at me, girl. Look at me. I'm like banging dishes. And then we're also going to put in a little Skin Trinity serum by Dermamed, which is also for the peptides to plump and hydrate her skin and to trick her skin into thinking she's not making enough collagen, so she overproduces. So peptides are the anti-aging like peaks. We love them because they cause the skin to firm up. So sometimes if someone has a lot of loose skin around their eyes, I'll have them use retinol and peptides because the retinol is going to turn the cells over to kind of firm the skin up a little bit, and the peptides is going to really kind of take it to a new level. Okay? We've got that. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. you doing, honey? You comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. If you get uncomfortable anytime, you let me know.
I will.
This has a lot of vitamin C in it, which can be a little irritating to the skin if we use a lot, so I'm just going to put in a little extra oxygen and biohydra infusions just to kind of dilute it a little bit because we did accidentally pour too much in there. Which, girl, what's the damn happen? Alright, let's mix this up. So the way this is going to work, okay, I'm going to paint some serum here, and then I'm going to penetrate it into your skin with my Rezenerate wand. I'm going to go in a crosshatch, so I'm going to start going horizontal down here, and then I'm going to go vertical, okay? And then I'm going to work my way around your face this way. We'll do your neck, we'll do your nose and your lips last, okay?
Yep.
This also goes right up to the lower lash line, so it can be a little bit weird feeling, so I will warn you before I do that, okay?
Yep.
No surprises today.
Sounds good.
I don't like surprises myself.
Me either, really.
I like to know what's going on.
I like to know the details.
Yeah. So we put this on the lowest for her because she's never had it before. I'm going to start here. So I always start horizontal between the eyebrows because they usually, not usually, many people have 11s there. And so we want to kind of separate the two sides of the wrinkle to stretch it out. So I always start here horizontal because a lot of women have the 11s there. And we're trying to just kind of soften them up and get them separated so that they're less apparent. This is a lot stronger on the forehead, my dear. Once I get down to your cheeks, it'll be a little less kind of vibrating and stuff.
Yeah, that's okay.
So we always feel things more on the forehead because the bone is so close to the skin surface. I do have clients that don't like this, but they'll get it because they like the results, but they don't like this.
Yeah.
Especially on the forehead, they feel like they don't like the vibration. But they like the results, so they'll power through. So see, I'm going down the side of her face here because I'm going to start there before I go to her eye. That way I don't lose my place, okay? And so Rezenerate, what this is doing, this has little pyramids in it, no needles, so there's nothing penetrating the skin.
Yeah.
This would be considered nano-needling because there's no needles involved. And the pyramids make little microchannels in the skin so that the skin accepts the serums that I'm trying to put into it. And then the serums, we decide custom for each client based on what they need and what their wants are. She is young and doesn't have any photo damage really at all, so I don't need to put tons of lightener on her and stuff. She's more, we can do a lot more with hydration with her and focus less on pigmentation. You just want to make sure you go over it until it's in there, but you don't want to keep going over the same spot because it can get a little raw feeling, so you want to just make sure that you're also moving it. Okay. And see how I'm like parallel to the skin, I'm not going like this,
Right.
Parallel to the skin. Alright, Bridget, I'm going to go right under your eye, up
Okay.
to your right eye to your lower lash line, okay?
Yep.
So I started out here so I didn't startle her. Everyone startles when you get near their eyes, even if they know it's coming. Always be just a little bit extra gentle around the eyes no matter what you're doing. This is made to go around the eyes, so it is made specifically to do this. she doesn't have pigment, I did use a little bit of Claritone, and that's because we want to stop her from possibly forming any. So that's a reason to use it even though she doesn't have pigmentation. We want that tyrosine to be paused. So I think that so I was thinking about this. I would say if you want to, it's hard, sometimes it's hard to understand different words. Tyrosine can be used to say melanin.
Okay.
So tyrosine is melanin, and a tyrosinase inhibitor is a melanin inhibitor.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So just in case that's... So with the inhibitor, it keeps it from forming pigmentation. So anytime there's inflammation on the skin, a cut, a sunburn, a pimple, whenever there's any inflammation in the skin, there's a chance that the skin is going to drop pigment in that place. It's because the skin thinks that there's something happening to it. So that's what a tan is. A tan is basically all your skin cells putting on a black umbrella and being like, ah, the sun's out. And that's what a tan is. So when there's inflammation in the skin, whether it's a cut or a pimple or anything, there is potential that the skin will not understand what's going on and will drop a pigmented spot in its place, and that's where you get those pock marks. That's actually pigment, and that's liftable and treatable. A lot of people think, oh, these are acne scars, they're going to be here forever. Nope, that's pigment. We can work with that. So have you ever seen someone who has a sunburn on one part of their arm and not the other? Like the top of their arm is burnt or the bottom's burnt and the top isn't because of his shirts. So have you ever noticed that when that happens to people, sometimes their arm is two different colors for like 6 months? It's a little off. The top color is a little off from the bottom. That's because the skin dropped pigment in the place of the sunburn because it was inflamed. So if we're using tyrosinase inhibitors and they're using them at home, it kind of stops that from happening because we don't want to accidentally cause any pigmentation on the skin. Am I making sense? Yes. Okay. I can tell the massage therapist today are trying to smoke me off the earth because it is hot up here, girl.
I didn't see anyone down there.
They were here earlier.
Oh.
They probably left for the day, but they were here.
It was really cold down there. Like, I went down to the bathroom before we started, and it was like freezing down there, like 15 degrees colder.
It is. That's why, yeah, that's the problem with this building, and it'll happen in the summer too,
Yeah.
where it's freezing cold up here and it's barely cold downstairs.
Yeah.
We just try to be respectful of each other. I try to keep the heat down as low as possible because I'll fry right off the earth. I'm perimenopausal, girl. We don't want to be sweating. How are you doing so far, hon?
Good.
Good? Okay. You're not uncomfortable in any way?
No.
Oh, great. So Rezenerate is one of my favorite things. I was still in school when I discovered Rezenerate, and I was like, oh, this is something I want to do. So when I came out on my own, the first machine I bought after Microdermabrasion was this. And I use it in many facials, the 5 years ago today, the 10 years ago today, just the regular nanofacial with Rezenerate. It's just great to pair it with things because of the way that it can penetrate treatment serums into the skin. So we're like treating her skin with lots of vitamins today and yummy stuff. And Another thing too is it's very easy to get fast with this where you're going like this. You have to go at least like a medium pace. If the person's really sensitive, they will get hives. They'll get a histamine reaction from it being so aggressive. So, histamine reaction, have they taught you that at European Wax Center about histamine reactions? Oh, they should have. So histamine reactions happen, and they happen mostly with waxing, which is why I say that. I'm going to go right under your left eye, honey.
Okay.
See, she's startled. That's exactly why I do that. She knew it was coming, but she still started. That's all right. So histamine reactions is when the skin registers that there is trauma happening to the skin, but it doesn't understand it. So we know what we're doing. The skin doesn't know what we're doing, even though she might even know what's going on.
Yeah.
Still doesn't. So basically what happens is that when the skin registers that there is trauma happening to it and it doesn't understand, it tells the brain to release Langerhans cells, which are histamine cells. So they release histamine in the body, and that can cause hives. It is not an allergy, and it is temporary and usually does not need treatment. And that's going to be the little bumps, like if you do an upper lip and they've got little bumps on their lip after, not pimples, but like directly after raised skin, that's a histamine reaction.
Okay.
But we can get those through kind of almost anything in aesthetics. I've had clients have a histamine reaction to microdermabrasion where they ended up with hives all over.
Okay.
So it's the skin sensitivity, it's the individual, and basically that's just all it is it's a mixed signal, because the skin's like, ow, that hurt, what's going on? And then sends the signal, and we're like, no, we're just trying to wax, it's okay. You'll see that a lot with waxing. I'm surprised they did not teach you that.
Yeah, no, they didn't, because that's something I get anytime I wax my upper lip. I always get it there.
Yep.
It's not too much of an issue in other areas, but yeah.
And it doesn't itch usually.
Yep.
Itchy usually says to me that it's an actual allergic reaction, not a histamine reaction. So histamine reactions are not allergic reactions. They will not, they should not turn into like anaphylaxis or anything. They should technically go down. Another thing is if they have a big histamine reaction and it looks really angry, you can always put a little bit of cortisone on it and it'll shrink it down, but I only want you to do that the one time because I think I told you about steroids.
Yeah.
And don't have them do it themselves unless, so I have people call me when they leave here if they have adverse reactions. That's when I'll say, oh, do you have some cortisone in your cabinet? And I'll tell them to do it then, but I never tell them like on their own accord, oh yeah, just you can use cortisone whenever you want, because you can't.
Right.
We want to limit the use of steroids on the skin as much as possible. You'll see that so much, but I'm so surprised they didn't teach you that, because that's a big one. Because I'll tell you, like I belong to all these esthetician groups on Facebook so that I can answer questions, and I'm on a few waxing ones from when I was a waxer myself. And that seems to be like a lot of newbie questions is like, does anybody know what this is? Like this bump, this white bump, and then we're all like, oh, it's histamine. Allergic reactions are going to itch. So if they have a hive, but it's not itchy and they're not itchy, then it's not an allergic reaction, so we don't have to panic. It's rare that you'll get histamine from microdermabrasion. I've just witnessed it myself, and that's why I told you about it. at least for home care, when you have someone that has pigmentation, you're gonna probably go to vitamin C. Mulberry is also another kind of tyrosinase brightening ingredient. I use that for retail for certain people. But if I want them to, they've got a lot of pigmentation, like scarring, and vitamin C is just not going to really do it fast enough, I'll put them on something like that instead, and it'll work a little bit faster, and it will work in tandem with my treatments, which I love. Kind of like after they leave, they continue the work that we did together. We're going to do our nose and our lips. So we'll do the nose first. So with this tip right around the nose, I want to get the side of the nostril, but I also want to get here. So you have to go the side of the nostril here to be parallel with the skin, and then you have to go like this to be parallel with the skin next to it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Of course, she doesn't have laugh lines because she's young and beautiful, but if she had laugh lines, a lot of times they start right here at the nostril, and it's because they've got this tightness here. It kind of lifts and pulls the face in and wrinkles, so we would be wanting to loosen that up with the hyaluronic acid, the peptides, but also the exfoliation. We want to kind of soften that band of the wrinkle to get it to release a little bit, be less apparent. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I find a lot of people that have really deep smile lines, I have to work a lot around the nostrils because that's what's pulling it towards the center of the face.
Okay.
I have a friend who has psoriasis around her mouth, and when the pandemic happened, she reached out to me and was like, "Hey girl, I got a problem here." And I was looking at her, and she had big swelling under her eyes, but her psoriasis was around her mouth.
Yeah.
So it was so tight because she wasn't using the right products that it pulled her lower lids down and made them droop like this.
Oh wow.
So what I did was I gave her products to soften the under eye, soften that so that her lower lids would go back up where they were supposed to, and they did.
Oh wow.
But that's kind of an example of like where when the skin is dehydrated and dry and it shrinks up, it can pull your lids down, it can pull your your skin towards your mouth when then you get the smile lines. But those things are all treatable. Usually it's like a tightened band and you just want to soften it up. Soften it up, get it to spread out. All right, honey, I'm going to go over your lips. This is not toxic, but it probably doesn't taste great. I don't know.
Okay.
But you don't have to help me anyway. You just lay there and relax, okay? Go right over her lips just like this. And I don't want her to help me because I'll end up shoving this in her mouth. So I start right below the vermilion border of the lower lip because there's usually wrinkles here. She doesn't because she's just gorgeous. And don't smoke.
I don't.
Okay, good. that'll keep her mouth really beautiful without getting any wrinkles. Then I go atop the vermilion border. And I'm going to go right onto her lips. I'm going to go in a little circles. And I'm going to pull up on her lip. Top is where you hit the teeth sometimes, so just be careful. Okay, how is that, my friend? Good. Okay. It's 4:26. Do you want to step out? Okay, let me pause this, and then we'll see.